Hi guys, I hope you've all had an absolutely awesome summer. Sorry I've been a little bit slack on the old video front. My son's been on his summer holidays and honestly it's been actual chaos in between working and trying to organise childcare and trying to be a fun mum. I've just not had a lot of time to get filming done, but he is back at school on Monday, so I'm back in the swing of things. So more videos will be coming. So today's just a quick one about how to use MyFitnessPal. So it's going to be a quick tutorial about some of the sort of basic uses of the app, an explanation about how you would start using it for your goals, so weight loss or weight gain. And yeah, just a chat about what I do, how I use it and how my clients use it. So the first thing to do when looking to use MyFitnessPal is to work out what calories you should be on. So for me, I use a website, which I will pop down below in the bio box. It's really, really easy. Basically, you pop in your weight, you pop in your activity levels, so how active and how much you move during the week. You pop in what your goal is, so whether you are trying to maintain, lose weight or gain weight. It then gives you a breakdown of how many calories you should be eating. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect because I would say I'm a super active person, but some weeks I may not be quite as active. So it's not going to be absolutely perfect, but it's going to give you sort of a ballpark figure to work with. The good thing about it is it will then also give you your macros. So when you first start tracking your food, if you haven't really done it before, I would just stick to either being in a calorie deficit or a calorie surplus. I wouldn't worry too much about your macros, but it's definitely something useful that you can start using once you are more used to using a tracking app. So before you start tracking, you're going to need to pop your calories into the app, the calories that you are aiming for on a daily basis. This is one setting that I don't really rate very much. You can use the MyFitnessPal sort of calorie tracker, which is if you go to goals and then it will ask for your starting weight and your goal weight, and then it will sort of calculate what it thinks your calories should be. Personally, I don't rate it very much. I don't think it's very accurate. So for me, the best way to do it is to scroll down a little bit further, and then it says, I actually just forgot what it said, so I just went back to have a look. It says nutrition goal, and it's the top one that says carbs, fat and calorie goals. So if you click on there, you can just pop your own calories in that you've worked out from the website that we chatted about earlier. And then once those calories are in, you can start adding in the food and trying to hit your daily target. So then you want to click along the bottom where it says diary, and then that is going to be your first day of tracking your food. So then the little circle at the bottom with the plus sign in it, you would click on that and you're going to be able to start adding food here. If the food has a barcode, this makes it so much easier. In the top right hand corner, there's a little scanner. You can just scan the product. It will pop it into your food diary. Usually it just kind of adds it with the serving size that they would recommend, but it is super important to make sure that you are tracking the right amount of food. If the serving size is the whole product and you only eat half of the product, make sure that you change it. So you can do this by, it will say like the grams, and then you can scroll it down or up. So either make it more or less if you've eaten more or less of the product. When there's no barcode, it's slightly more complicated. So you may need to manually add the product. This is done by clicking in the bottom button. Along the top, you can type the product in. So say it's eggs. It will come up with eggs, look for the one that most closely matches the product that you're having, and then you can add it manually that way. Again, making sure that you are adding the correct amount of product. It's so simple. It makes losing weight, gaining weight, just a really easy process. The problems come when people, A, don't put the right amount of food in for each day, B, don't kind of pick the right product. So just because you're having spaghetti, all spaghettis are different, so ideally make sure that you are looking for the right brand, the right shop, the right country of origin, because a lot of the products are American and obviously they're going to be totally different calorie content. Also make sure that you're being super accurate. So if you're having a tin of tuna and then you're adding mayonnaise, you're going to need to weigh out the mayonnaise because that's going to be way more calories than the tuna. So yeah, use the scales, weigh it out. I know it's a bit of a pain in the butt, but long term, you're probably going to get a bit of an understanding of the foods that you tend to eat quite regularly and how much 100 grams of that food looks. Not that I'm saying that you should eat 100 grams of mayonnaise, because no one should be doing that. But 100 grams of chicken, eventually you're not going to have to weigh it every time, because you're just going to kind of be able to judge whether it looks like 100 grams or not. When you've finished your day of eating, press finish diary at the bottom. Otherwise, the next day you go in, sometimes you can end up adding food to yesterday and it just gets super complicated. So make sure you finish your diary and then you start up the next day on the next day. It really is that easy. I mean, there's loads of other sort of, you can add like recipes. So if it's something that you eat quite frequently, like cottage pie or I don't know, lasagna or something like that, and you use the same sort of ingredients, you can start adding recipes into your MyFitnessPal so that when you have it, you don't have to enter all the ingredients. But these are sort of like functions that I think are more complicated, and just get used to the basics, get used to tracking all your food, putting it all in on a daily basis. And yeah, it's science. If you are eating less than you are burning off, you're going to lose weight. If you're in a calorie deficit, it is scientifically impossible not to lose weight. If you are eating more than you're burning off, you're going to gain weight. And if you are hitting the same, you're going to maintain. It really is that simple. But without an app giving you that structure, then it is going to be very, very difficult for you to know exactly the calories that you are having. MyFitnessPal does it really well. It's free for a start. I do use the paid version just purely because my clients' food diary, I like to see what they're eating, and it's quite a good way of keeping them accountable. But the unpaid version is totally fine. You don't need to invest in the paid version. It's super easy. It's scannable. All the apps, you just scan all the food, and it's makes it a lot less complicated for you. It's just a really good way to stay in track with what you're doing. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful. I think lots of the YouTube videos about fitness, MyFitnessPal tracking, make it super complicated. It really isn't. Pop your calories in. Don't worry about the app doing it for you. Pop your food in. At the end of the day, along the top, make sure that your calories going in match what you've kind of set for the day, and that you're not hugely in a surplus or deficit for what you've chosen. Done.